All right, today's date is Wednesday, June 26th. Jeffrey Harris, and this is the 411 Wrestling Podcast. And for today's interview, it is Impact Wrestling star. It is Global Wrestling star. He is all ego. He is Ethan Page. Ethan Page, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Ethan, so you recently renewed your contract with Impact Wrestling. How are you feeling about Impact Wrestling right now?
Personally, I'm enjoying it. I would say the locker room is the best it's been in a very long time, and the morale in the locker room is a lot better than it's being portrayed on the internet. I think people are excited to show up to work because of the people that they get to work with. So I'm happy that I'm there.
Now, Impact currently airs on Pursuit Channel. There have been some broadcast issues with Pursuit, with sort of reruns and not airing the current episode. And Impact is also simulcasting and streaming on Twitch. Do you have any thoughts on Pursuit Channel right now as the broadcasting home for Impact?
Thoughts? Not really. If there is issues with Pursuit, just throw the Twitch app on your smart TV or just go to twitch.tv/impact and it airs the exact same time. And then the commercials aren't even there. I think most of the time you get Melissa Santos chatting with you in the chat. So, yeah, check it out. Like, I can't really defend or trash a TV station. I don't know what they're doing or if they're doing anything right or wrong, but all I know is it works every week on Twitch, and if you really want to see the show, there is an option. Now,
Ethan, you are all ego, so give us a scoop. What's going on with the new TV home for Impact? Is there going to be a new TV home for Impact? Is there going to be a new broadcast partner? What have you heard? What do you know?
I have heard that there is going to be a new TV station. I do not know what the station is, or if I do, I'm not allowed to tell you, but...
You can tell us.
I would say it's better than what's going on right now.
Okay.
I can guarantee that.
Fair enough. Now, don't you think it's a little ironic because of where Impact used to be as TNA Wrestling? It used to be on a huge cable network in I think close to 100 million 100 million homes. Spike TV now I think it's Paramount Network. Isn't it a bit weird to kind of just see where the company is now, and it's almost sort of having to rebuild itself from scratch?
Yeah, but I feel like that happens with a lot of like companies in any sort of business. There's going to be like ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and it's just how you handle it that really matters the most. Stuff like this literally happens to everybody. So I think as long as the roster stays as good as it is now and continues to improve and we keep delivering the show that we do, all it's going to take is getting the right set of eyes to watch the show because the product is there. It's just getting the exposure that I think it deserves.
Okay, so Impact Wrestling will be going to Dallas, Texas next month for Slammiversary 17, my home state of Texas. Will you be going to Slammiversary, and do you know if you have a match on that card yet?
I will be in the building. I do not know if I have a match yet, so I will be enjoying catering for now.
Have you been to Texas, or have you traveled to Texas yet?
Yeah, I've worked in Texas quite a few times, and I really enjoy the fans there. I have a lot of really big diehard fans from Texas. Every time I go, it's like a family reunion, which is great. Most of the shows I did out there were for Wrestle Circus and a couple one-offs. And then I'm actually returning to Texas, I believe, the week after for 3 different shows. I think it's Heavy Metal, Sabotage, and Inspire.
Now, I don't know if you're a carnivore, if you like meat at all, but do you enjoy Texas barbecue?
Oh, of course. Is there a different answer?
Well, some people are vegetarian, some people are vegan. I didn't want to make assumptions.
No.
Have you been to Rudy's or Buc-ee's down there?
No, I mean, I don't want to say no, just in case someone had already taken me to that spot and I'm just forgetting. But I'm not really great with restaurant names. But I have had barbecue, and if anyone wants to take us to a spot that they love while I'm there, I mean, I'll be there for 2 weeks this entire month. So, yeah, let's hang out.
Now, I got to talk to you about your match with David Arquette, and I think Alpha-1 in your hometown. How was that experience in getting to work a match with David Arquette, Hollywood actor?
It was awesome. It was honestly amazing, and all props to David Arquette for what he's been able to accomplish in wrestling, and the actual attention that he's been bringing to professional wrestling is great. So I know a bunch of us appreciate it, and it was a cool experience. And he really packed the house in my hometown, which is great because there was a bunch of first-time viewers and first-time fans. So hopefully they returned because of the show that we put on for them, and they had a great time. That
was an Alpha-1 show, right?
Yep.
And that's a promotion. I mean, you have roots there going back probably 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's my company.
So it was very special for you.
Yeah, very. And that's why I tried to jump on it as soon as I could once I knew my relationship with David was strong enough to pull some favors and get him to come out to do the show. Yeah, it was great. And I'm very, very, very grateful for the attention that he brought the company and even myself.
And let's be honest, David Arquette can be a very polarizing figure in this business, in this industry. But you went away with that. You gave him a very positive endorsement, and it seemed like it was a positive experience overall.
For sure. And the way that he treated everyone backstage, and he treated all the fans that he met, it was way more professional than a lot of the wrestlers that we do meet and greets and autograph signings with. So that also goes a long way with me too. Just he's taking a guy from Hollywood, and this isn't really his world, but he's showing the respect that he feels that the wrestlers deserve. That's going to go a long way with me, especially since I do this for a living. And yeah, he showed all the respect that you would expect from somebody, and then some.
Now, not that I'm a huge fan of David Arquette or anything, but do you get the sense that he's really humbling himself and really, I guess, dedicating himself to this craft to prove himself, maybe not just to the fans, but himself?
No, 100%. That's the exact feeling I get because he is a true fan of professional wrestling, and like I said, he showed the respect and dedication, and I can't say a bad thing about him.
Now, I mean, I gotta believe you've been a fan of this since you were young. Is that correct?
Pro wrestling? Yeah.
As long as you can remember, would you say?
Yeah, 100%.
When do you remember discovering wrestling?
My first memory of wrestling was seeing King Kong Bundy on my TV and pretty much lighting up in tears because of how scary he looked. And my dad explaining to me this is a wrestling show, that guy's going to fight this guy later, you want to check it out? And we're watching wrestling together every Sunday now, and he's taking me to live events. I remember seeing The Undertaker live with my dad and my grandfather, and I was pretty much hooked ever since. I had posters of Macho Man and Steamboat on my wall, and yeah.
Who were your guys?
It's been a childhood thing. Guys?
Yeah, who were your guys?
Hogan for sure.
Yeah.
Macho Man was my number one. Ultimate Warrior. And then as I grew older, my dad was obsessed with Razor Ramon. He thought he was the coolest guy on earth. And that made me be a fan of Razor Ramon. And then later on in life, The Rock and Billy Gunn and Val Venus.
Not one Canadian, huh? Canadian betrayal over here.
One in there. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Because you're Canadian, I would have expected Bret Hart, the Hart family, but a lot. But
I'm a full-on supporter of the entertainers in pro wrestling.
Yeah. But no, I kind of like those answers because that those weren't the type of answers I was expecting from you. Not but I think that's great. I also enjoy the fact that you're big into Marvel and comic book superheroes and comics and everything. And I guess talk a little bit about that you're also into comics and superheroes and stuff, because I love that you bring that sort of flair to your style in your vlogs.
It's just one of my many interests, and I feel that I don't know, wrestlers can be a lot more relatable if they're just as honest with who they are as possible. And like my character is that I'm all ego and that I'm like a egomaniac and I love myself, which is very true, but I have other loves of my life, and comic books and superheroes, and I guess nerd culture is one of them. I'm currently standing in a room with over like 500 action figures on the wall, so yeah, it's just that.
That's right in my wheelhouse too.
Yeah, like I love toys, and it's gotten to a point now where Hasbro is sending me full waves of Marvel Legends just because I've shown so much like love for them online, and it's just something that I started as a hobby, and that once my success grew in wrestling, so did my expendable income, and now all of a sudden I have way too many toys on the wall.
I could probably talk to you for hours about this, but I am going to Comic-Con next month, and I actually just got an invite to the Hasbro brand preview breakfast at Comic-Con.
No. Are you going to grab the 2 exclusives?
I'm very excited about all the exclusives. I know they give you a goodie bag at this event. I don't know if they'll give me any of the exclusives though, but we'll see. You know,
they just released the images like either a day or 2 ago, and I can't like. I hope they end up in some sort of retail, but I doubt they will.
But like that, you know, that was a big that was a big moment for me, getting that email that yes, I'm going to the preview breakfast. So, but also I'm just curious. A lot of people consider pro wrestling to be a male soap opera, but honestly, I can see a lot of parallels between superhero comics and serialized comic storytelling and pro wrestling as well. Do you see those parallels?
Oh, for sure. And I think any form of storytelling could be translated to pro wrestling.
Right.
Because like there's so many different ways of stories to be told, and like characters like Joey Ryan, like he has a legitimate magical penis, like, and we're just all just like, yep, we're good with that. That's normal. That's okay in wrestling. And then you've got guys that do like MMA shooter characters that make everything look real, like Timothy Thatcher, and we're just like, yep, we're good with that too. And then there's the collaboration where worlds collide and Joey Ryan wrestles that guy, and now it's like so many dynamics and different ways to portray pro wrestling that I think it ties in great with comics or graphic novels or
I think that's another great thing about I don't think pro wrestling has to be put in a box and be one thing. I think pro wrestling can be many things, and I think it's been many things for decades. And that's, not to harp on this, but I get frustrated sometimes when I listen to Jim Cornette and he rails on Joey Ryan because, back in Jim Cornette's era of what he considers like the best era, you had like Tracy Smothers wrestling a bear, like wrestling a wrestling bear. Like, what the heck is that? Or you had midget wrestling, I mean, like, wrestling has had what you would call quote unquote goofy stuff in it for decades. It wasn't something that Joey Ryan invented, Joey Ryan has his own personal style, and it goes back literally decades. So I don't think it's anything to get upset over. There are many different types of wrestling, and I don't think any one of them is invalid,
Yeah, and like it's just entertainment. Like it's just our way of telling a story is in between those ropes with fake fighting. Like we do like in whatever way we want. So like you have Chikara, they tell very like not childish, but stories that can be relatable to children. Like they have time travel and like all these colorful characters. And then you have like a Ring of Honor or New Japan that does things for more of the athletic base or like the competition. So yeah, it just depends on what the fan wants to watch. Like that's why you have things called options.
Right. Well, I guess as a fan and as a wrestler, what do you think of the options that are available to fans now and streaming media? I mean, we have New Japan streaming, we have Impact Wrestling streams as well, and you have what am I trying to say? Video on demand. Video on demand is a big thing now, and pro wrestling is taking advantage of it. And what do you think of that?
I think that it's as good as it's ever been with options, and right now is the best time for any wrestling fan, because if there's something you don't like, there's for sure going to be 2 or 3 different options that you will like, and it's just finding what works best for you and knowing that it's out there, because it definitely is.
Now, your recent X Division title match with Rich Swann, how did you like getting to work with Rich Swann in the X Division?
I loved it, and Swann to me is one of my favorite opponents that I've ever had, and being able to get to have that singles match with some solid time, and I was very, very happy with it. Yeah,
I mean, before Swann came to Impact, his career was in a bit of a trouble. He was contemplating retirement. How do you like what Swann has been able to do and sort of reinvent, himself and become, this great talent for Impact now?
Oh, I love it, and I'm even happier that he just recently re-signed with them and is extending his stay, because he's one of those guys that I didn't want to see leave, because I enjoy working with him that much.
How did you like getting the team with ACH in Evolve?
Oh, that's like getting to work with one of your best friends, so it was amazing. I couldn't have been happier. That was one of the most fun ways of getting through the remainder of my Evolve contract without wanting to shoot myself in the head. And it was the one shining moment of the end of my Evolve career.
And you guys did have the tag titles.
Yeah, for one day, I think that was just Gabe's way of cementing his name to whatever legacy I leave in wrestling.
Was there some conflict there between you and Gabe Sapolsky?
Yeah, I just despise him as a human being.
Is there anything else you want to add to that, or do you want to leave it that way?
I just think he's very unprofessional,
okay,
and childish, and he gets irritated very quickly, and he doesn't know how to handle his emotions. It's just not a very professional work environment. I didn't really enjoy working for him, especially on the tail end. And I don't know. I guess that's it.
Fair enough. I was just curious because it sounded like there was more to it, but I appreciate you sharing that with us.
There's a lot. I just
right.
That part of my career is past. And
no, I understand.
Yeah.
Now that ACH is signed with WWE, are you happy for him, and do you look forward to seeing what he does there?
Oh yeah, he's a real friend, and I was very happy to see him get signed, and I'm even happier to see what he's doing. And when I saw, what I would assume is they let him choose his name, and he got to pick. I know he's doing Jordan Miles for Michael Jordan and Miles Morales, so I'm super happy that he gets a little, nod to what he loves, and that's going to be a part of his name and his future in the company.
Miles Morales, another comic book superhero reference over here.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So I'm just curious, from your perspective, since you are in the Impact locker room, is there a perspective at all from the Impact locker room on what's going on with All Elite Wrestling and what they're doing right now in the business?
I mean, we're all paying attention, but I think that's just because we're all professional wrestlers and this is what we do. So, obviously everyone is watching what's happening with a close enough eye to be able to hold conversation in the locker room. But as far as us all sitting backstage, waiting for news to come out, I wouldn't really say it's like that.
I mean, do you think AEW is a positive addition to this industry? Or are you excited about what they're doing? Do you think this is good for the industry?
Yeah, I think it is good, and I think it's shaped things up a lot. And you can obviously see that wrestlers are under the impression that there's a lot better options out there, and that's where we're having a little contract issues with certain people, and people are fighting for their worth a little bit more, which I think is also a good thing. So yeah, it's good. I would say it's very good because it gives the power to the wrestler now, and I think it's been missing a little while.
Now, Ethan, is there a trickle-down effect? Does, the fact that AEW is here, they're putting on big shows, they're selling out 10,000-plus seat arenas, does that put a pep in the step in Impact wrestlers, or do you guys just sort of focus on what you're doing?
Well, I think it puts a pep in a step of, this might create more general interest in pro wrestling.
Right.
All eyes on wrestlers right now, especially, some guys aren't going to want to stay with Impact forever. So maybe now if they're thinking, all right, there's more options out there, so maybe I do need to try a little bit harder and, bring a little bit more buzz back to my name. And I know on the independents, a lot of guys who have been slacking now look at this as an opportunity to make a living, but I feel like the guys that have been going 100% are the ones that are ending up with the jobs first, which is, I think, is good.
Now, you also have a surging YouTube channel. You're vlogging now. I think it's great. And I just like seeing sort of like a day in the life of a working pro wrestler, because, I feel like you're just kind of doing it the old school grassroots way. Do you have any insight or anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, that's basically it. Like, I was just trying to bring attention to how crazy my life is while also trying to balance being a husband and a dad, a new dad too. And like my career now is slowly starting to snowball and grow, and I figured this was the perfect time to capture what was going on in my life. And I want my daughter to be able to see like what we were going through while she was being born and growing up, and like growing in the world while my career was doing the exact same. But I also want it to give exposure to companies that don't really get it as much, or most importantly, like young wrestlers. Through the vlog, they get to know a lot of the guys that I travel with, and hopefully give them more exposure and more fan base. Now,
what is the key to making this all work? Because as you said, you are a husband, you are a father, you're a working man, you're a working pro wrestler. What is the key to making this work? You're traveling, you're on the road, you have all these commitments, and making it all work with the family time as well.
Honestly, finding someone that's very understanding and patient is the luckiest thing I've done. I wouldn't really say this would work with everybody. I know for a fact it probably wouldn't. It's a lot, and I put a lot of it on my wife's shoulders, and it's definitely because of how graceful she handles it.
Now, have you ever had that moment in your career where you found that right opponent and you feel like, man, we're clicking, we just have that chemistry, we don't even have to look at each other, it's second nature to us? Have you ever had that moment in your career?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't happen often, but, like we were talking about Rich Swann earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys. Johnny Gargano was one of those guys. Josh Alexander is one of those guys. And that's just the natural chemistry. I don't know where it comes from, but it's there, and every single time it's just easy and just feels right.
Now, are you going to be going to Comic-Con next month? Will you have time?
No, I will not. It's heartbreaking. I've still yet to actually be able to go out, but when it comes to Toronto, I try and make the trip, but even then, usually I'm out of town. Like when it comes to weekends, I'm not really on my own time.
Do you have some good conventions or Wizard Worlds ever coming over to Toronto for you guys?
We get like Toronto Comic-Con and Fan Expo. Those are our two big ones in Toronto, and they usually bring in some pretty big guests. Me, I'm more on the like sales floor. Like I'd rather go hunt toys and stuff like that. But no, we get some good stuff.
How much did you love Endgame?
Oh, I was like in tears multiple times. It was a magical movie experience.
Now I'm going to make you a little more jealous of me right now, and I'm very sorry. Guess what I'm doing tonight?
Okay. You're going to see it again with the extended footage?
Nope. I'm seeing Spider-Man Far From Home, baby.
When? Tonight?
Yep.
How?
I live in it's one of the perks of living in Los Angeles.
Oh, I hate you.
I warned you, but it's a press screening.
I did not expect that.
It's a press screening, so I'm very excited. So and that's just another reason I was so excited to talk to you, because it's like I found my people,
Dude, you have no idea. Like my buddy was buying the new Marvel Legends this week that just came out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, are you excited for the movie?" And I'm like, "I'm kind of nervous." Like I'm that excited that it's making me nervous. Like I want to enjoy it because Endgame was just next level, and now this is the first.
I am unapologetic about this. When I saw Endgame at Disney, like actually at Disney Studios. And
but
but I'm going to tell you something. When I heard the words, and this isn't really a big spoiler, but when I heard the words "Avengers Assemble," I screamed in the auditorium, like I shouted. I'm like,
respect.
Yeah, like just to hear that was such. It was sort of like a defining moment in life. But Ethan, just last thing, any upcoming shows you want to plug? I know you have your Instagram pages, your YouTube channel, which is doing quite well. Any social plugs or where people can find you online you'd like to share? It's your moment, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. When does this come out?
Later today.
Oh, okay. So this weekend, actually. Saturday, I have a show in Fort Erie, Ontario. It's called Border Town Pro Wrestling. Check it out. It's myself versus Hornswoggle versus Falaba. Then on Sunday is the big Alpha-1 show named The Other Side in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, featuring myself, Josh Alexander, Trey Miguel, Colt Cabana, Hornswoggle, TJP, Jeff Cobb. It's like totally stacked. Check it out. Alpha-1 Wrestling, alpha-1wrestling.com for the website. My social media is really easy. If you just search Ethan Page, I'll probably just show up on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. But my Twitter is @officialego. And my vlog is called Fake Name No Gimmicks. Check it out on YouTube. It comes out every single Wednesday. Just today.
All Ego, Ethan Page, thank you so much for your time. This has been a great interview, man. Safe travels to you. Best of luck, and I hope you enjoy your time when you go to my home state of Texas for Slammiversary. You've been listening to All Ego, Ethan Page of Impact Wrestling, and this is the 411 Wrestling Podcast. Thank you, everybody.